Hi everyone, so this is part 2 of the surface area video. Make sure you watched part 1. One thing I want you to add to your graphic organizer, a big distinguishing factor as to what makes a prism is that all of the lateral sides that make up your prism are rectangles. So I want you to add that when we're finding the lateral area, we have to find the area of all of the rectangles and add them together. Some of the rectangles are different in length than the others. You just have to take a look at your diagram and figure out what is each of the rectangles that makes up my lateral area. Now let's do some problems. So take out a separate piece of paper so that you can copy down some of these examples and try them out. Now let's pick up with those examples that we looked at in the beginning to distinguish between bases and lateral area. Now let's actually find the lateral area and the surface area and the area of the bases. Okay, so taking a look at this first one we have is the cylinder. So I'm going to write down for my surface area, I have to find the lateral area, which is that curved portion, and then I have to add the area of my bases. And I have 2 in this case. So for lateral area, I'm going to write down the formula for the curved portion, which is 2 pi RH. And then I'm going to write down that the area for my bases, well, each of my bases is a circle. So I have 2 circles. So I'm going to write down 2 times pi r squared. Because remember, 2 bases. And we have to find the area of each. Now for your lateral area, let's write down that we have 2 pi, our radius is 4, and then the height of our cylinder is 7. And now let's go ahead and multiply and solve. So we're going to do 2 times 4, which is 8, and then 8 times 7, which is 56. So all 3 of those numbers multiplied together gives me 56 pi, and I'm just going to keep it in terms of pi because my base is also in terms of pi. So now let me use my base formula. So 2 times pi, still the same radius of 4 squared. So now I'm going to do 2 times 4 squared. Well, 4 squared is 16, so 16 times 2 gives me 32 pi. And then what I do is I add them together so I can get the total surface area, all of the surfaces for this cylinder. So the 56 and the 32, I'm going to do it in my calculator, 56 plus 32, I get 88. So this is 88 pi. And if I wanted to express the nearest 10th or 100th, I'd multiply 88 times my pi symbol, which is right here. And I would get around 276.46 from rounding to the nearest 100th units squared. So it's area, so it's just going to be squared. Now let's take a look at this hexagonal prism. So again, I'm going to write down surface area equals the lateral area plus my 2 bases. Okay, so in my diagram, my bases, that's like the top and bottom there, right? Those 2 hexagons. Now lateral area, I have a bunch of rectangles, so I have to think about each of the rectangles that make up this hexagonal prism. All right, so I have to think about my rectangles. And I know the formula for each of the rectangles is just your length times width or your base times height, however you want to describe it. And then for my bases, well, those are in the shape of regular hexagons, so I'm going to have to do 2 times the area formula for one of my hexagons, which is 1/2 apothem perimeter. Okay, so my apothem here, if we take a look, that's your 6.9. It shows you that perpendicular height from the center. And your perimeter, well, it shows me that each of the sides is going to be 8. So if I have 6 sides, just trying to trace that, 6 times 8, that's 48. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in that I'm going to be doing 2 times 1/2 times 6.9 times 48. And I'm going to multiply all of that together. 2 times 1/2, that cancels. 6.9 times 48, I'm going to do that in my calculator. 6.9 times 48 I get 331.2 just as the area of my two bases added together. Now I need each of the rectangles. Okay, now I'm going to take a look. Now this rectangle here, it's 8 by 9. Now the next one is also going to end up being 8 by 9. This one also will be 8 by 9. Okay, so all of the rectangles are going to be 8 by 9. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles. Each of them is 8 by 9 units. So I'm going to write down I have 6 rectangles. Each of them, I'm going to find the area by doing 8 times 9. Now my calculator, 8 times 9 is 72. 72 times 6, that's 432. So 432 is my lateral area. I'm going to add that to the 331.2. So my surface area, my total surface area is going to be 763.2 units squared. Okay, so now let's take a look at this pyramid, this square pyramid. Again, I start off, I'm going to write my surface area is my lateral area plus my one base, because I don't have two, I just have that bottom base. Now my bottom base is really simple to find the area of. It's just going to be length times width, because it's a square. Okay, so your base here, that's a square. So I'm going to be writing in, I'm doing 20 times 20, which is going to be 400. Okay, so 400 square units is the area of my base. But now I need to find the area of each of the sides. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Each of the sides is going to be a triangle. So basically I have 4 triangles that I need to find the area of. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now because I have a square base, each of the triangles is going to be identical. They're all going to be congruent. So for each of them, I'm going to be doing the same formula, 1/2 lowercase b h, because that's the area formula for a triangle. And now I'm going to plug in my base for my triangular face. That's this 20. The height of just the triangle, this right here, that's the height of the triangle. It's one of those slanted heights that we had talked about before, which is exactly what I need to find the area of the triangle. And that's going to be 26. Okay, so I'm going to be doing 1/2 times 20 times 6 times 4. So let me do this in the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to do 0.5 times 20 times 26. That's the area of just one of my triangular faces. And now I'm going to multiply that by 4 because I have 4 of them. So it's going to be 1,040. So add those together. The 400 and the 1,040. And you're going to get 1,440 units squared. Okay. Now this is the last new type of shape. We have a cone. So I'm going to go ahead and write down to find the surface area. I'm going to find the lateral area plus the area of my one base. My one base is just the area of a circle. That's just that one circle at the bottom there. So I'm going to write down pi r squared. And my radius is 13. So I'm going to write down 13 squared. Okay, so 13 squared is 169. So it's 169 pi for the area of the circle. Now I need to find the lateral area. I told you that the formula for lateral area is pi RL when you're dealing with a cone. We have the same radius of 13, and our L is the slanted length that they gave us. That's your 30. So we're going to plug that in. Pi times 13 times 30. So in our calculator, 13 times 30, we have 390. So 390 pi. Add 390 and 169 together. So in my calculator, I'm going to add 169. and I get 559 pi, which I wanted to approximate like to the nearest tenth or something like that. I'd multiply by pi, and I get 1,756.15. I'm going to the nearest hundredth units squared. Now let's take a look at this example. This is a regular rectangular prism, and we're going to find the area of each of the surfaces. Now with a rectangular prism, it's a little tricky because there's not really technically a set base. Any one of the sides can be considered base because there's lots of parallel sides that are congruent. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of each of the surfaces. So for this rectangular prism, let's think about all of the different rectangles we have. So let's start off with, let's say, the right and the left side. Okay, so for the right and the left side, I have a rectangle that is 6 meters by 3 meters. Okay, and I have 2 of those. Then I have another 2 for the front and the back. So my front is about 6 by 3 again, 6 by 3. And then I have the top and the bottom. Now the top, let's take a look. The top, that's actually 6 by 6 for your top. So the top and bottom are going to 6 by 6. So I'm going to write down, I have 2 of these, and they're 6 by 6. So I'm going to find the area of each of these, and I'm going to add them up. So I have 2 times the area of 3 times 6, which is 18. 2 times the area of 6 times 3, which is 18 again. And then 2 times 6 times 6, which is 36. 2 times 36 is 72. 18 times 2 is going to be 36. And then the last one, 18 times 2 is 36. So we're going to add all of these together. 36 plus 36 plus 72 is going to give me 144 meters squared for the surface area. Now take a look at number 4, pause the video, look at the notes, and try it for yourselves. Welcome back. You should have gotten about 650.94 centimeters squared if you round to the nearest hundred and you multiply in pi. Check your work. If this is what you got, great. If not, see what I did and see where you may have made a mistake. Let's try another one. So here we go. Here's another problem for you to try. It's a square pyramid. So remember that each of the sides, which are 4 in this case, are going to be in the shape of triangles. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one out. Okay, welcome back. So you should have gotten approximately 170.8, actually exactly 170.8 feet squared. Take a look at the work that I did. If you got it, great, awesome. If not, see where you could have made a mistake. And let's try another problem. Okay, let's take a look at this cylinder. Again, pause the video, try this one out. Welcome back. Hopefully everyone got 659.73 kilometers squared if you multiplied in the pi. If not, again, pause the video, take a look at my work, and see where you may have gone wrong. Okay, last question is a little bit more of a challenge question. It's not too horrible, but really take a look at each of the pieces that make up this shape, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so if you got 143 yards squared, you got the correct answer. Now check over my work. The reason why this was tricky, you had 2 bases back and front that were identical, but each of the sides, the lateral faces, were different. So we have the left side and the right side here that were the same. Okay, they were each 6 by 4, which you can see here. And then we had the top, which was a different size. It was 6 by 7, which the area was 42. And then we had a bottom side, which was 3 by 6, which had an area of 18. When you add all those up, we got 108, plus the bases of 35, and we get a total area of 143. Okay, and that completes our lesson. Bye.